frames of a forgotten face, tapestry of a heavy grace. Now the truth hangs in the air, a whispered shadow of despair. The iron crown has told its lies. I see the storm behind her eyes. This sacred silence I must keep. She discovered the king's secret. The golden locket tells a pretty tale, but lightning strikes behind the velvet veil. Your perfect world was just a painted lie, and now the queen's lie is exposed to the sky. Yeah, the queen's lie is exposed to the sky. The truth will set you free, but first it breaks you. The gilded mirror shows the flaw behind the arch. The shadows draw, the fractured shards reflect the scene. The lightning shows what lies between. The thunder cracks, the mask is gone. A new and terrifying dawn. The lie is finally exposed. That weathered hat, a shadow deep, a story my own blood would keep. The dust-filled miles, the setting sun, my whole life's really just begun. The ghost I chased across the land was holding my own smaller hand. Truth I never knew. These fractured shards reflect a different you. A portal swirling, bathed in sapphire light. The shadow in the hat now holds me tight. The shadow in the hat now holds me tight. Ooh, ah, a lonely wind. The dusty main street burns in amber light. A silhouette just rides into the night. That golden mountain calls from far away, but the crown weighs heavy at the end of day. She wasn't just a ghost of the frontier plains. She wasn't an ordinary girl with the iron chains. Buried in the pendant, a bloodline tale. Beneath the regal dust, the truth sets sail. Calls. The pendant catches light beneath the golden fire. My spirit carries weight above the jagged spire. In 177,773 the sun begins to fade. I am the lost heir of Silver Ridge, the debt is paid. Beneath the crown of stone and dusty horizon line, the forgotten blood is awakened. Now the earth is mine. The dampness clings to every hollow breath. The throne behind is colder than the death of every sunset bleeding on the plain. I see the steel that marches through the rain. Captured in the light, I'm 7 and 341. It wasn't just the crown that kept the peace. The glass gives way in a splintering sigh. A silver ghost beneath a storm-torn sky. Jagged edges catch the light of a false design. Everything I held was never mine. The reflection is splintered, the memory is burned. I'm just a fragment of a page not turned. An aged seal of crimson wax, a truth that leaves indelible tracks. Oh, Rose Hart, the manor walls whisper your name, a legacy written in thorns and in flame. I see the lonely lantern light approaching in the stormy night. Rose Hart, I finally know. Rose Hart, I finally fortress walls burn orange in the wake of every promise that the shadows break. The throne is cloaked in smoke and stolen breath, a kingdom buried in the march of death, while all the ancient oaths descend to sleep.
The Queen's Mirror and the Girl of Golden Creek. Chapter 1. The Queen of Silver Ridge. Long ago, beyond the endless pine forests and snow-covered mountains of the frontier kingdom of Silver Ridge, there stood a magnificent palace made of white stone and golden towers. The people of Silver Ridge spoke of many things: harsh winters, brave ranchers, and hidden treasures buried deep within the mountains. But above all, they spoke about one woman, Queen Seraphina. Every morning, before the kingdom awakened, Seraphina would walk alone through the royal gardens. Golden roses bloomed wherever she stepped. Servants lowered their heads. Guards stood perfectly still. No one dared meet her eyes. She was beautiful beyond description. Her long raven-black hair flowed like silk. Her emerald eyes sparkled like jewels. Her elegant face seemed untouched by time itself. Yet beneath that beauty lived a secret darker than the deepest cave in Silver Ridge. A secret no one knew, not even the people closest to her. Because Queen Seraphina had not always been a queen. Years ago, she had been nothing more than a wandering outlaw struggling to survive in the wilderness. Back then, storms were her shelter, hunger was her companion, and fear followed her everywhere. One terrible night, while crossing the frost-blind mountains, she was caught in a violent storm. Rain poured from the sky, thunder shook the mountains. Lightning split ancient pine trees in half. Weak and exhausted, Seraphina collapsed beside a muddy trail. She believed she would die there, alone, forgotten. But fate had other plans. A rider appeared through the rain, King Aldrich, the ruler of Silver Ridge. The king immediately dismounted his horse. He wrapped his coat around the unconscious woman and carried her to safety. For 3 days and 3 nights, Seraphina remained unconscious inside a mountain lodge. When she finally opened her eyes, she found Aldrich sitting beside her bed. "You're safe now," he said softly. Those words changed her life forever. Over the following months, Aldrich brought her to the palace. He admired her courage, he admired her intelligence, and eventually he admired her beauty. Before long, the entire kingdom celebrated their wedding. The bells of Silver Ridge rang for hours. Thousands of people filled the streets. Flowers covered every road leading to the palace. King Aldrich placed a jeweled crown upon Seraphina's head, and she became queen. The people believed it was a storybook romance, a poor wanderer becoming queen, a king finding true love. But no one knew what darkness slept within Seraphina's heart, because Seraphina feared only one thing: growing old. Every time she looked into a mirror, she imagined wrinkles appearing on her face. Every grey hair terrified her. Every passing year felt like an enemy. As time passed, her fear became obsession, and obsession became madness. One winter evening, while exploring forgotten chambers beneath the palace, Seraphina discovered something hidden deep underground, an ancient mirror. It stood taller than a man. Its frame was made of black gold. Strange symbols covered its edges. Blue light pulsed beneath its surface. The moment Seraphina touched it, a voice echoed through the room, a voice neither male nor female, a voice older than time. "Why have you awakened me?" Seraphina stepped back in fear. "Who are you?" "I am the mirror of truth." The queen stared in amazement. The mirror continued. "I reveal what others cannot see." At first, Seraphina feared the mirror, but soon she realized it possessed incredible power. It answered every question she asked. It revealed secrets, it revealed lies, and most importantly, it revealed beauty. From that day forward, the queen visited the mirror every morning, always asking the same question: "Who is the most admired woman in the kingdom?" The answer never changed: "You, my queen." The words became addictive. Each day she needed to hear them, again and again and again. Years passed. King Aldrich grew older, but Seraphina seemed unchanged. People whispered about her eternal beauty. Some called it a blessing, others called it witchcraft, yet no one dared speak openly. Because strange things began happening throughout Silver Ridge. Young women disappeared. Travelers vanished near the palace. Families searched for daughters who never returned. The queen always expressed concern. She always promised investigations. But the disappearances continued. What no one knew was that Seraphina had discovered forbidden magic hidden within the mirror of truth, magic capable of stealing youth itself. Every month the Queen secretly drained the life force of young victims, their beauty, their vitality, their youth, all transferred into her own body. And each time she performed the ritual, she became more beautiful, more powerful, more dangerous. Years turned into a decade, then another. King Aldrich eventually died from illness. The entire kingdom mourned. Church bells echoed through the mountains. People wept openly in the streets. But behind closed doors, Seraphina felt something different. Relief. With Aldrich gone, no one could question her authority. No one could challenge her. Silver Ridge belonged entirely to her, or so she believed. One autumn evening, 12 years after Aldrich's death, Seraphina entered the chamber of the Enchanted Mirror. Hundreds of candles flickered across the room. Blue energy danced along the mirror's surface. The Queen smiled confidently. As always, she asked her favourite question. Who is the most admired woman in the kingdom? For several moments, silence filled the chamber. Then the mirror spoke. But this time, the answer was different. Not you. Seraphina froze. The smile vanished from her face. The room suddenly felt cold. What did you say? The mirror repeated. Not you. Fear tightened around her heart. Impossible. Blue lightning flashed across the glass. A face slowly appeared inside the mirror. A young woman, beautiful, radiant, with chestnut-brown hair and bright blue eyes. Seraphina stared in horror. Who is she? The mirror answered. Rose Hart. The Queen's hands trembled. Where is she? In the valley of Golden Creek. The image became clearer. Rose Hart stood beside a river beneath towering mountains. Sunlight illuminated her face. Even the mirror's magic seemed drawn to her. For the first time in decades, someone was more admired than Queen Seraphina. Jealousy exploded inside her, a jealousy hotter than fire, more dangerous than any weapon. The Queen smashed a crystal vase against the floor, then another, then another. Servants outside the chamber heard the crashing but dared not enter. Inside, Seraphina continued staring at Rose's reflection. Hatred filled her eyes. The mirror spoke once more. There is more. The Queen looked up. What? If Rose Hart survives, she will change the future of Silver Ridge. Those words terrified Seraphina even more, because power mattered to her as much as beauty. And now both were threatened. The Queen immediately summoned her most loyal captain, Victor Kane. Within minutes, the soldier entered the throne room. He knelt before her. You summoned me, Your Majesty? Seraphina stepped toward him, her expression cold as ice. I have a mission for you. Victor lowered his head. Anything. The Queen walked toward the window overlooking Silver Ridge. Far below, thousands of lights glowed in the darkness. The kingdom seemed peaceful, unaware of the storm about to arrive. Finally, she turned back. Find Rose Hart. Victor frowned. Who is she? The Queen's eyes narrowed. Someone who must never reach. The Queen's Mirror and the Girl of Golden Creek. Part 2. The hunt begins. Far from the towering walls of Silver Ridge Palace, beyond the pine forests and winding rivers, lay a peaceful frontier settlement known as Golden Creek. Unlike the grand capital, Golden Creek was simple. There were no castles, no royal guards, no golden crowns, only hard-working ranchers, lumbermen, farmers, and families who lived honest lives beneath the shadow of the mountains. Among them lived a young woman named Rose Hart. Rose had spent her entire life in Golden Creek. She lived in a small wooden cabin beside a crystal-clear river. Every morning she woke before sunrise. She fed horses, collected water, helped elderly neighbors, and spent her afternoons working in the fields. People admired her not because of her beauty, but because of her kindness. She never ignored someone in need. She never turned away a hungry traveler. And she never expected anything in return. That was why everyone in Golden Creek loved her. Rose herself never understood it. She thought she was ordinary, just another frontier girl trying to survive. One evening, while returning from the river, she noticed an elderly woman struggling to carry firewood. Without hesitation, Rose ran over. Let me help you. The old woman smiled. You always help everyone, don't you? Rose laughed. I just do what anyone should do. The woman shook her head. No, child. Most people don't. As they walked toward the village, neither of them noticed a rider watching from a distant hill. A rider dressed in black, Captain Victor Kane. the Queen's most loyal soldier. He had travelled for 2 weeks following rumours and descriptions, and now he had finally found Rose Hart. Victor studied her carefully. The Queen had been right. The girl was beautiful, but there was something else, something difficult to explain. A warmth, a kindness, a light. Even from a distance he could see it. Victor frowned. He didn't understand why the Queen feared this girl, yet orders were orders. As night fell, he returned to his camp and prepared his men. At dawn they would ride into Golden Creek, and Rose Hart would be taken to Silver Ridge. The next morning began like any other. Birds sang, sunlight spilled across the valley, children played near the river, then horses appeared, dozens of them. The thunder of hooves echoed through the settlement. Villagers stopped what they were doing. Doors opened, people stepped outside. Fear spread quickly, because everyone recognized the royal banners. Victor Kane rode at the front. His black coat fluttered in the wind. His cold eyes scanned the crowd. Finally he spoke. Rose Hart. The entire village fell silent. Rose stepped forward cautiously. I'm Rose. Victor dismounted. The Queen requests your presence at Silver Ridge Palace. The villagers exchanged nervous glances. Everyone knew royal requests were rarely requests. Rose looked confused. Why? Victor offered no explanation. You will come with us. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Rose's instincts screamed danger, and judging by the expressions around her, everyone else felt it too. An elderly rancher stepped forward. She hasn't done anything. Victor's hand moved toward his revolver. Stand aside. The old man obeyed. The tension grew heavier. For several seconds nobody moved. Then suddenly, Rose ran. Gasps erupted throughout the village. Victor cursed. After her! The soldiers immediately gave chase. Rose sprinted between cabins, across fences, through narrow alleys. Her heart pounded wildly. She didn't know why the Queen wanted her, but she knew she couldn't let herself be captured, not until she learned the truth. Behind her came shouting, hooves, boots. The entire settlement seemed to explode into chaos. Rose raced toward the forest. Branches whipped against her face. Roots threatened to trip her, but she kept running. Soon she reached the river. Without hesitation, she plunged into the icy water. The current nearly knocked her down. Still she pushed forward, splashing, fighting, determined. On the opposite bank, she climbed onto the rocks and continued deeper into the wilderness. Victor reached the river moments later. He watched her disappear among the trees. Most men would have given up. Victor Kane was not most men. He mounted his horse and smiled grimly. The hunt has begun. For 3 days, Rose travelled through the mountains. She survived on berries, river water, and pure determination. Exhaustion slowly consumed her. Every night she slept beneath trees. Every morning she awoke fearing the sound of horses. Yet somehow she remained free. Meanwhile, back at Silver Ridge Palace, Queen Seraphina grew increasingly impatient. She paced inside the mirror chamber. Blue magic crackled around the ancient glass. Where is she? The mirror remained silent. The Queen clenched her fists. Days passed. Still Rose escaped capture. The Queen's anger became unbearable. Finally she summoned another man. A man feared across the frontier. His name was Mason Reed. Unlike Victor Kane, Mason wasn't a soldier. He was a tracker, a bounty hunter, a survivor. Legends surrounded him. Some claimed he could follow footprints through storms. Others believed he could track a man across mountains after weeks had passed. Most stories were exaggerations, but not all. Mason entered the throne room calmly. His weathered cowboy hat shaded piercing grey eyes. A scar crossed one side of his face. Years of hardship had carved strength into every movement. Queen Seraphina studied him. You know why you're here. Mason nodded. You want someone found. The Queen smiled. Rose Hart. Mason remained silent. Find her and bring her to me. What makes her so important? Seraphina's expression hardened. That isn't your concern. Mason sensed she wasn't telling the truth, but he also knew better than to challenge a queen. What do I get in return? The Queen walked closer. Her voice softened. I can give you something you've wanted for years. For the first time, Mason's expression changed. You don't know what I want. The Queen smiled knowingly. Oh, but I do. She raised a hand. Blue energy appeared inside the mirror. An image slowly formed. A woman. Beautiful, smiling. Mason froze. His heart nearly stopped. Anna. The image showed his late wife, the woman he had lost years ago, the woman he still loved. Seraphina stepped beside him. Bring me Rose Hart. She pointed toward the mirror. and I'll return her to you." Mason stared at Anna's image. Every logical thought vanished, every warning disappeared, only hope remained. For years he had dreamed of seeing her again. Now the possibility stood before him. At last he lowered his head. "I'll find the girl." The Queen smiled. She knew she had won. As Mason left the palace, storm clouds gathered above Silver Ridge. Far away, Rose Hart stood atop a mountain ridge, unaware that a far more dangerous hunter was now tracking her, unaware that her destiny was moving closer with every passing hour. And deep within the Enchanted Mirror, a mysterious voice whispered, "The kingdom's future has begun." Leaves danced across rocky trails, and somewhere within that vast wilderness, Rose Hart was running out of strength. For nearly a week she had been fleeing. Her boots were worn, her dress was torn by branches and thorns. Dark circles rested beneath her bright blue eyes. Still, she refused to stop, because every time she closed her eyes, she remembered the soldiers riding into Golden Creek. She remembered Victor Kane calling her name, and she remembered the fear she felt deep inside. Something terrible awaited her at Silver Ridge Palace. She was certain of it. The only question was why. Late one afternoon, Rose reached a mountain stream. The water sparkled beneath golden sunlight. For the first time in days, everything seemed peaceful. No horses, no soldiers, no danger. She knelt beside the stream and drank. The icy water refreshed her immediately. Then she noticed something strange. A footprint, fresh, not hers. Someone had been there recently. Rose slowly stood. Her heart began pounding. Instinct told her she wasn't alone. A branch snapped behind her. She spun around. A man stood between the trees, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a weathered brown duster coat and cowboy hat. A rifle rested across his back. His grey eyes never left hers. Mason Reed. Rose took a step backward. The stranger remained calm. "I'm not here to hurt you." Rose laughed nervously. "That's exactly what someone hunting me would say." Mason couldn't argue with that. For several moments neither moved. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Finally Mason spoke. "You're Rose Hart." Rose tightened her grip on a nearby branch. "And you're another hunter?" Mason sighed. "Yes." The answer surprised her. At least he was honest. "Then why haven't you arrested me?" Mason studied her carefully. The Queen had described a dangerous fugitive, a threat to the kingdom, a criminal. Yet the woman standing before him looked nothing like a criminal. She looked exhausted, frightened, and completely innocent. Something didn't feel right. Meanwhile, far away inside Silver Ridge Palace, Queen Seraphina stood before the Enchanted Mirror. Blue energy danced across its surface. The Queen's patience was gone. Where is she? The mirror showed Rose standing beside Mason Reed. For a moment, Seraphina smiled. Finally, the tracker had found her. Soon Rose would belong to the Queen. Soon the threat would disappear forever. Or so she believed. Back in the forest, darkness began to fall. Mason built a small fire. Rose sat across from him, refusing to trust him. Neither spoke for a long time. Eventually, Rose broke the silence. "Why does the Queen want me?" Mason stared into the flames. "I don't know. You're lying." "No." He looked directly at her. "I'm telling the truth." Rose saw something unexpected in his eyes. Regret, pain, sadness, not cruelty, not hatred. Sadness. "Then why are you helping her?" Mason remained silent. For a moment he considered telling her everything. Then he remembered Anna, his wife, the woman he had loved more than life itself. The Queen had promised to bring her back. That promise still controlled him. Yet something about Rose made him question everything. Finally he spoke. "The Queen promised me something." "What?" Mason looked away. "A second chance." Rose frowned. "What does that mean?" The tracker didn't answer. The next morning they continued travelling together, not because Rose trusted him, but because she knew she couldn't survive alone much longer. As they climbed higher into the mountains, strange things began happening. The forest grew unusually quiet. No birds sang. No animals appeared. Even the wind seemed absent. Then they found something. An ancient stone marker hidden among the trees. Symbols covered its surface, symbols neither of them recognized. Rose touched the stone. Immediately a faint blue glow appeared. Mason stepped back. What was that? I don't know. Suddenly an arrow struck the ground between them. Both jumped. More arrows followed. Dozens, flying from every direction. Within seconds they were surrounded. 7 armed settlers emerged from the forest, rifles aimed directly at them. The leader stepped forward, a grey-haired mountain man with a thick beard. His eyes narrowed suspiciously. "Who are you?" Mason slowly raised his hands. "We're travelers." The old man laughed. "Travelers don't accidentally find this valley." Rose looked around. Hidden valley? She hadn't noticed before. The trees suddenly opened into one of the most beautiful places she had ever seen. A secret valley hidden deep within the mountains. Wildflowers covered the meadows. Crystal rivers flowed through green fields. Log cabins stood beneath towering peaks. Horses grazed peacefully. It felt like another world. The old man noticed Rose. His expression changed instantly. He stepped closer, studied her face, then looked toward the mountains, almost as if remembering something. Finally, he lowered his rifle. The other settlers followed. "You should come with us." Mason frowned. "Why?" The old man smiled. "Because we've been waiting for her." Rose blinked. "For me?" The settlers exchanged mysterious glances. "Come." Hours later, Rose sat inside the largest cabin in the valley. A fire crackled warmly. The 7 settlers gathered around. The old man introduced himself. "My name is Elias." One by one, the others shared their names. For years they had lived hidden from the outside world, protecting a secret, a very important secret. Finally, Rose asked the question burning inside her mind. "Why were you waiting for me?" The room fell silent. Elias stood. Slowly he walked toward an old wooden chest. Inside rested a faded painting. He carried it carefully, then placed it on the table. Rose stared. Her heart stopped. The painting showed King Aldrich. Beside him stood a young woman, a woman who looked exactly like her mother. Rose's hands trembled. "Where did you get this?" Elias looked at her sadly. "Because your mother once lived here." Rose felt the room spin. "My mother?" Elias nodded. "There's something you don't know about your past." The fire crackled. Outside, the wind howled through the mountains. Inside, Rose felt her entire life changing, because she was about to learn a truth hidden for decades. A truth connected to King Aldrich, Queen Seraphina, and the future of Silver Ridge itself. Far away, Queen Seraphina stared into the Enchanted Mirror. The mirror revealed the hidden valley. The Queen's face turned pale. "No." Fear entered her voice for the first time. They found the valley. The mirror remained silent. The Queen clenched her fists, because she knew something Rose did not. If Rose learned the truth hidden there, everything Seraphina had built could collapse. Her power, her kingdom, everything. And for the first time in many years, Queen Seraphina was afraid. The Queen's Mirror and the Girl of Golden Creek. Part 4. The Secret of Rose's Birth. The fire inside the cabin crackled softly. Outside, snowflakes drifted through the hidden valley. Inside, Rose Hart sat frozen in shock as she stared at the faded painting. King Aldrich stood proudly in the center. Beside him was her mother. There was no mistake. The resemblance was undeniable. Rose slowly looked toward Elias. "What does this mean?" The old mountain settler sighed deeply. For years he had waited for this moment. For years he had protected a secret that could change the kingdom forever. Now the time had come. Elias pulled another object from the wooden chest, a small silver locket. Its surface was worn with age. He handed it to Rose. As soon as she opened it, tears filled her eyes. Inside was a tiny portrait of her mother. Beside it was a miniature portrait of King Aldrich. Rose looked up, confused, frightened. "What is this?" Elias lowered his head. "Your mother served in the royal court many years ago." Rose's heart pounded. "Go on." "Before King Aldrich married Seraphina, he fell in love with another woman." Rose stared at him. "The woman in the painting?" Elias nodded. "Your mother." The room became silent. Even the fire seemed quieter. Rose struggled to breathe. "No," Elias continued. "The king wanted to marry her, but politics and pressure from powerful nobles changed everything. Then Seraphina entered his life." Rose felt as if the ground had disappeared beneath her. "What are you saying?" Elias looked directly into her eyes. "Rose Hart, King Aldrich was your father." The words struck like lightning. Rose could barely speak. "My father?" Elias nodded. "The true blood of Silver Ridge flows through your veins." The entire room remained silent. Even Mason Reed was speechless. Rose had spent her whole life believing she was an ordinary frontier girl. Now she was learning she was the daughter of a king. Meanwhile, inside Silver Ridge Palace, Queen Seraphina stood before the Enchanted Mirror. Blue lightning flashed across its surface. The Queen's face had grown pale. The mirror had shown her everything. Rose now knew the truth, the secret she had hidden for nearly 20 years. the truth that could destroy her reign. Seraphina slammed her fist against the mirror frame. No! The room trembled. Candles fell from their holders. Blue magic crackled violently. The Queen's beauty suddenly flickered. For a brief moment, wrinkles appeared on her face. Grey streaks appeared in her hair. Then the illusion returned. Seraphina stared at her reflection in horror. The dark magic was weakening. Without more power, she would begin aging rapidly. The mirror spoke. Its voice echoed throughout the chamber. The kingdom's rightful heir has returned. Seraphina screamed, "Silence!" The mirror continued, "Your time is ending." The Queen's eyes filled with rage. If I cannot remain queen, her voice became cold, then neither will she. Back in the Hidden Valley, Rose spent hours processing the truth. King Aldrich, the kingdom, the throne. None of it felt real. She sat beside the river while snow drifted through the air. Mason eventually joined her. Neither spoke for several moments. Finally, Rose broke the silence. My whole life was a lie. Mason shook his head. No. Rose looked at him. You don't understand. Mason stared at the mountains. I understand more than you think. Rose noticed the sadness in his eyes. The Queen promised something to you. Mason nodded slowly. My wife. Rose remained silent. The tracker took a deep breath. Her name was Anna. She died 5 years ago. The Queen promised she could bring her back. Rose suddenly understood. That's why you hunted me. Mason lowered his head. Yes. Rose expected anger. Instead she felt sympathy, because she saw the pain he carried. Finally she asked, Do you still believe her? Mason remained silent. Then he smiled sadly. No. For the first time since meeting him, Rose smiled. A small smile, but a genuine one. Trust had finally begun. The following morning everything changed. A lookout came riding into the valley. His horse was exhausted. His face was pale. The Queen's army! Everyone rushed outside. The rider pointed toward the northern mountains. Thousands of soldiers. The settlers exchanged worried glances. Elias clenched his jaw. She found us. Rose looked toward the distant peaks. Dark banners filled the horizon. The Queen had come personally. The final confrontation had arrived. By sunset, Queen Seraphina's forces surrounded the hidden valley. Hundreds of soldiers waited beneath black banners. At their center stood the Queen herself. Dressed in a magnificent black and gold gown, her crown shimmered beneath the fading sunlight. Blue magic surrounded her like living fire. Rose stepped forward. Mason stood beside her. The 7 settlers formed a protective line. The valley became silent. Finally the Queen spoke. Bring me the girl. Nobody moved. Rose stepped forward. I'm right here. Seraphina smiled coldly. You should have stayed hidden. Rose lifted her chin. You stole this kingdom. The Queen's smile vanished. And now you think it's yours? Rose looked directly into her eyes. It belongs to the people. The words echoed across the valley. Many soldiers exchanged uncertain glances, because deep down they knew she was right. Seraphina noticed. Her anger exploded. Blue lightning erupted from her hands. Dark clouds formed overhead. The ground shook violently. The Queen screamed. Then let everything burn. Suddenly, the Enchanted Mirror appeared in the sky above the battlefield. Its enormous reflection illuminated the mountains. Everyone looked upward. The mirror's voice thundered across the valley. Truth cannot be hidden forever. Blue light flooded the landscape. The mirror revealed everything. The stolen youth, the missing girls, the lies, the dark magic. The entire kingdom finally saw the truth. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Many stepped away from the Queen. Others removed her banners. Seraphina stared around in disbelief. No. Years of deception collapsed within seconds. The people no longer feared her. The magic sustaining her beauty began breaking apart. Wrinkles appeared rapidly. Her hair turned silver. Her face aged before everyone's eyes. The Queen screamed in terror. The one thing she feared most had finally arrived. Time. For decades she had stolen youth from others. Now those years returned all at once. Within moments she looked like a very old woman. She fell to her knees, defeated, broken, alone. The kingdom she had controlled through fear was gone. Weeks later, peace returned to Silver Ridge. The people celebrated throughout the frontier. For the first time in years, hope filled the kingdom. Rose never desired a crown. She never wanted power, but she accepted her responsibility, not as a ruler above the people, but as a leader who would serve them. Mason Reed remained at her side. Together they helped rebuild communities damaged by Seraphina's reign. The 7 settlers became honored heroes, and the hidden valley became a symbol of hope throughout the kingdom. One spring morning, Rose stood on a hill overlooking Golden Creek. Wildflowers danced in the wind, children laughed nearby. The future finally looked bright. Mason joined her. "What are you thinking about?" Rose smiled. "My father. The kingdom. The future." Mason nodded. "And?" Rose looked toward the rising sun. "For the first time, I'm not afraid of it." The sunlight spread across the mountains. A new chapter had begun, not one built on beauty, not one built on fear, but one built on kindness, courage, and truth. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to US West Love Story for more epic frontier adventures, emotional romances, and unforgettable Western legends.
Gilded frames of a forgotten face, tapestry of a heavy grace. Now the truth hangs in the air, a whispered shadow of despair. The iron crown has told its lies. I see the storm behind her eyes. This sacred silence I must keep. She discovered the king's secret. The golden locket tells a pretty tale, but lightning strikes behind the velvet veil. Your perfect world was just a painted lie.
Go and claim that frontier.
And now the queen's lie is exposed to the sky. Yeah, the queen's lie is exposed to the sky. The truth will set you free, but first it breaks you. Gilded mirror shows the flaw behind the arch. The shadows draw, the fractured shards reflect the scene. The lightning shows what lies between. The thunder cracks, the mask is gone. A new and terrifying dawn. The lie is finally exposed. That weathered hat, a shadow deep, a story my own blood would keep. The dust-filled miles, the setting sun. My whole life's really just begun. The ghost I chased across the land was holding my own smaller hand. Truth I never knew. These fractured shards reflect a different you. A portal swirling, bathed in sapphire light. The shadow in the hat now holds me tight. The shadow in the hat now holds me tight. Ooh, a lonely wind. The dusty main street burns in amber light. A silhouette just rides into the night. That golden mountain calls from far away, but the crown weighs heavy at the end of day. She wasn't just a ghost of the frontier plains. She wasn't an ordinary girl with the iron chains. Buried in the pendant, a bloodline tale. Beneath the regal dust, the truth sets sail. Calls. The pendant catches light beneath the golden fire. My spirit carries weight above the jagged spire. In 17773 the sun begins to fade. I am the lost heir of Silver Ridge, the debt is paid. Beneath the crown of stone and dusty horizon line, the forgotten blood is awakened. Now the earth is mine. The dampness clings to every hollow breath. The throne behind is colder than the death of every sunset bleeding on the plain. I see the steel that marches through the rain. Captured in the light, I'm 7 and 341. It wasn't just the crown that kept the peace. The glass gives way. a silver ghost beneath a storm-torn sky. Jagged edges catch the light of a false design. Everything I held was never mine. The reflection is splintered, the memory is burned. I'm just a fragment of a page not turned. An aged seal of crimson wax, a truth that leaves indelible tracks. Oh, Rose Hart, the manor walls whisper your name, a legacy written in thorns and in flame. I see the lonely lantern light approaching in the stormy night. Rose Hart, I finally know. Rose Hart, I finally know. The embers rise, a hollow sky. The fortress walls burn orange in the wake of every promise that the shadows break. The throne is cloaked in smoke and stolen breath, a kingdom